All right, let's get right into it. We're going to zero in on one single, pivotal chapter in a story that spans 5,000 years. This is the exact moment a prince's life is completely shattered, and the legend of a king really begins.
And right there, that's it. That's the first huge red flag that something is terribly, terribly wrong. I mean, a homecoming that's supposed to be a massive celebration is instead wrapped up in this cryptic, urgent warning. All the triumph has just been replaced by secrecy and silence.
Just try to picture this for a second. You've been away from home for 3 months. You're probably expecting banners, music, a cheering crowd, right? Well, instead, you're met by a single rider who tells you to get off the main road and sneak into your own home through a back gate. Yeah, that's the reality that's smacking Prince Evan right in the face.
And this is where you just see the human brain kick in. Evan is so physically and mentally wiped out from his trip, and his parents are being so unnervingly quiet that he shuts down. He can smell smoke in the air, but he makes a choice to ignore it, to just push that heavy, sinking feeling aside for the promise of a warm bed.
You know, his gut is just screaming at him here. That little voice in the back of his mind is practically yelling. But he actively fights it. He literally pulls the covers over his head. He even thinks he can hear screams out in the darkness, but writes it off as just his imagination and forces his eyes shut.
But here's the thing. Sleep doesn't give him an escape. Not at all. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It drags him kicking and screaming right into the middle of the very chaos he tried so hard to ignore. So his subconscious isn't whispering anymore. It is shouting the truth at him. And these aren't just random, jumbled nightmares. No, they are terrifyingly accurate visions of what's already happened. He's dreaming about his kingdom's light being snuffed out, all while he was asleep.
And this is that moment. The moment where the nightmare just crashes headfirst into a horrifying reality. He can't ignore the pounding in his chest any longer as he pulls himself out of bed, stumbles to his window, and finally sees the truth for himself. Wow, just 3 words, but they paint a picture of total devastation. The world that greets him is just apocalyptic. Homes are now just charred skeletons. Smoke is clinging to everything, and you can see people just staggering through the ruins like ghosts. The world he left behind 3 months ago? It's gone. In that one horrifying instant, his mind just kicks into overdrive. The denial is gone, shattered. Now, he's frantically trying to connect the dots between the nightmares he just had and the absolute wreckage outside his window.
And the pieces start snapping together in his head, you know? It's this awful chain reaction, this horrible domino effect. And he realizes it all started with one single, fateful decision he made 3 months ago.
First, it all comes rushing back. The advisor's manipulative plan. A plan that, you have to remember, was disguised as a gift to the kingdom, a chance to make everything fairer, to build a better world. And then he remembers his own part in it, his crucial role. See, he wasn't just some bystander. He was the key that unlocked this whole disaster. He was the one who talked his parents into leaving the throne, leaving the entire kingdom completely vulnerable.
And that's the core of it, right? The guilt isn't just about making a mistake. It's about betrayal. A betrayal that was born from a lie he desperately wanted to believe. The lie that this whole thing would make his parents happy, that it would finally make them proud of him.
The weight of his part in all this is so immediate, so absolute, that it's almost fatal. For one terrifying moment, as he's looking out over the ruins that he helped create, he sees only one way out. But then, a sound from below. Screams from the village. And it just snaps him out of it. His despair instantly turns into dread for his parents. And that dread just explodes into action. Everything changes in a heartbeat. Okay, so this sequence of events is absolutely crucial. A single, nagging gut feeling to sleep in a different room ends up saving his life. But it only saves him so it can propel him into this brutal cycle of horrific discovery and violent revenge that is going to define the next 5,000 years of his life.
And you have to understand this. This moment of absolute devastation, this explosion of grief and rage, it's not the end of Prince Evan's story. Not even close. In fact, it's the very beginning.
All of it. Every single hard-won piece of wisdom, every secret he has to bury, every dirty deal he makes with his own conscience, the entire legend of the wise king that he will one day become. It all comes from this one single catastrophic morning. This is ground zero.
This is the foundational trauma, the fire of guilt and grief that forges his entire identity for millennia to come.
And that really leaves us with a powerful, lingering thought, doesn't it? How often does a single choice, that one moment where we ignore that warning voice in our chest, create ripples we can't even begin to foresee, ripples that might just last an eternity?